All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk with Maggie and Lucy, where we believe the older women should teach the young. And that's what we like to do here. Come on with you all from time to time and give you our take on relationship topics, especially for the young women who want to prioritize marriage and family in their prime. So, Lucy, if you would please greet everyone and let them know what are we reacting to today.
Hi, Maggie. Hi, Deja. Hi, NW. Um, yeah, this one is going to be interesting. One word of caution. I think that he uses a couple of colorful words within the presentation. So just be aware if you're going to be playing this in the background while you're working or while you have kids around, just be careful because I think he says a couple of things that are more adult appropriate. But yeah, it's going to be about men looking at women and making that judgment whether these type of women are worth their time.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. This video is called Let's Talk Toxic Women. Is She Worth It? So, your two disclaimers again, Lucy and I have a combined over 40 years of marriage experience, even longer relationship experience. So, that's where we speak from our own lived experience. The link to the video is in the description if you want to watch it without our commentary. We will pause and give you our take, hopefully in a helpful way that we can learn from. Thank you, C. Irving, for being here, NW and Deja. We love to bring you all in the conversation so you can let us know your thoughts. This one's about a 16-minute video, so we should be able to get through it. So let me share my screen, and we're going to go right in.
There's a question that you ask yourself every day, dozens of times. You're not even aware of it. It just happens in the background. It's almost like an autonomic system, so automatic in men's minds. How you answer this question, the majority of the time, is going to determine the quality of your life, or even if you have a life. You answer this question wrong just one time, it could end your life, but it can also ruin it. What is that question? Is it worth it? Think about it. You're constantly running that thought through your mind. With every interaction, every decision, you quietly ask yourself, is it worth it? First thing in the morning, the milk's expired a few days. Is it worth it? Minor decision, nothing to worry about there. Your wife walks into the room and starts hitting you with a bunch of nutty woman stuff. You want to disagree. Is it worth it? No, it's not. You see a hot girl. She's got everything you ever dreamed of. She's beautiful, she's sexy, she's got a great personality, or at least that's the way it seems. But there might be some red flags. Is it worth it? That's what we're going to talk about today. How some of those red flags are redder than others. And how you can answer that question more easily. Is it worth it? This is Life 2.0. Let's.
All right, I want to get in here before he gets into the topic. And W says he seems to be over it, and the dogs are over it too. I was thinking, this is a man after Lucy's own heart. Lucy picked the video and all the videos, and I was thinking about that. First, I do love, y'all know me and animals, however, I do appreciate nature, and I love the view, the expansive view. Apparently, he goes for walks in the forest, cannot relate, but I love it. Looks like he's got a little drone following him, just him and his dogs out there. And I think, ladies, we need to realize this is solace to a lot of men. Simple, just out in nature, not a lot of fuss. All that other stuff that they do is because we want to. So we have to understand what really calms them down. It reminds me of, was it Bjorn, our favorite Viking that we reacted to a couple times? So There's nothing wrong with men if they want to get away from it all. We women, we like to communicate and bond through talking things out. Men are the opposite. They like to retreat into their own thoughts. Allow your man to have that space. But he said something that I want to unpack before we actually get into it. He said that there's a question that you are constantly asking yourself. Is it worth it? We're going to talk about the relationship aspect, but ladies, the teachable moment for you, if you think once you've got that ring, or once you've got that man, or once you have your way, or whatever it is, that you can sit down and just be cute and comfortable and you don't have to continue to work for it, we have to continue to prove that we are worth it. That man is constantly asking himself, is she worth it? Are we worth keeping around? So if you want a relationship that will last, you need to understand and accept that we're going to have to continue to compete for the man that we want. He may not say it out loud, but he's constantly asking himself, is this situation worth it? So if you find yourself maybe dismissed and to you it was like blindsided or you had no idea this was coming, it could be that the man that you had decided one day, you know what, it's just not worth it. And men are the ones that establish relationships. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that. And I'm going to tell you something Mr. President said. You all know my man. He gives it to us straight. He said, once a man has decided that she is the one, or this is the one I could work with, I could do life with, he is looking for reasons to disqualify you, meaning they're giving you the rope and they're allowing you to demonstrate and show if you're a serious candidate or you're just playing around. And then if you display characteristics that aren't really worth their interest or their time, he may decide it's just not worth it. All right. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And I love presenting or looking at men's perspectives because, again, when you're marketing something, you want to look at what is the buyer's perspective. So if you're looking for someone to have a relationship with, it's important to see their perspective. What are they looking for on that specific person? And it's fascinating to see that men are live their lives always asking themselves, is whatever situation, the reaction worth it? They're constantly looking at that. And I love that you talked about how men are uncomplicated. Their solace is just going out there and being with nature. And again, for me, it's kind of let the man be, because I bet you that there would be other women saying, can I join you? Can I go into your nature? Can I go with that? And it's like, let him be. That's his peace. Let him have his own time, because again, that is where he goes back into, whatever problems he's having. He is trying to figure out a way to solve it. And that is his peace. Again, we are supposed to be their peace. And if they need to get away, let them.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Lucy just gave you all a really good free one. Find some hobbies, ladies. Don't be a busybody. What I tell the ladies that I talk to, believe me, if you make it a good experience when he's with you, when he comes up for air, he will come find you. He will come look for you. He'll come grab you by the arm and say, come on, babe, let's go somewhere, or come sit down with me, or whatever it is. But when he wants to have that time alone, if there's not a problem, don't make it a problem. Don't make it about you. Don't pepper him with 20 questions. Don't be annoying. Let that man be. Find some things to do around him to keep yourself occupied. I check in. Hey, can I bring you anything to drink? You're good. Can I refill your coffee? And then I'm out of his hair. All right. Let's go back in.
Talk about it. Most men over the age of 30 are pretty good at risk assessment, doing a risk reward and trying to figure out if it's worth it. Part of that's because most of the guys under 30 who are not good at that are gone. They're the hold my beer and watch this crowd, or just guys who have really poor self-control. But there are times when our reliable little process of risk reward doesn't work so well. And that's when our brain shifts south and we're looking at a beautiful woman, sexy, got everything we think we want. We start projecting into her all kinds of qualities that she obviously probably does not have. We start to see our life with her. We can already smell the pancakes cooking on the stove. You know, we are there. Breakfast in bed. Why not? Why not? Yeah, that is where it all breaks down. The survival of the human race owes more to men's ability to assess risk than any single characteristic. I would argue that it is this innate ability that makes men good leaders when it's working. The problem is when we allow it not to work. For whatever reason, our genetics, God, who knows, the universe, there's a shutoff valve. When we see a mating opportunity, oh, the risk assessment thing just goes out the window. Yeah, we don't make good decisions when there's a good mating opportunity. We lose the ability to use that tool to screen out some of the worst case situations. And ironically enough, it's those worst case situations that increase our odds, like when we can, screen them out, of finding the right person. The other night I was talking to one of the viewers, and he brought this topic up, and it was really interesting because he talked about this author named Alison Armstrong that he and I both have read her books. She's really good. She's got some good insights. Don't agree with everything she does, but there's some good information that she has. And one of the things that she says that we need to do in picking a partner is, rather than screening for all the positive things that we're looking for in a partner, is we need to screen out the negatives. Because if we can screen out the negatives, we can narrow the pool down really, really fast. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today.
Oh, I absolutely love this. All right, I want to unpack a couple things and then we're going to get into his list. I see you all in the chat. He said something in the first clip there that went by really fast, but like Lucy said, I really do appreciate the perspective of men. And did you hear him when he said something about society surviving at all is because of men's ability to basically discern if something is worth the risk or not? Now, I know in this selfish little modern world that we live in, we're used to thinking about, well, what about me? Am I happy? If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Men think on a global scale, on a national scale, on a generational scale. And so did you hear him when he said the men that have been able to make good decisions about taking a risk or not are the ones that survive? The ones that want to do that, hold my beer, watch this, they remove themselves from the gene pool. And I'm not trying to be morbid, but ladies, we have to understand, men know that not everybody is going to make it. Oh, thank you so much, Messy Michonne, for the $9.99 coming through with the support. We appreciate you. Y'all go check her out. She is my guilty pleasure. Sometimes I watch and I can't comment, but ooh wee. Thank you. We appreciate it. Men know that not everybody is going to win. Men know that not everybody is going to make it. Not too long ago, a man had to earn the right to have a wife and a family. It wasn't just given freely the way it is here. You had to demonstrate that you were responsible enough for a father and mother to give you their daughter, and then you go on and you live your life. Whatever we're doing now, I don't know. My point is this: unlike us, we women, we think everybody can make it. I'm a 10. I'm just like her. I'm a special snowflake, as Kevin Samuels used to say. We are not. So we're already coming into it with a little bit of delusion, thinking there's no distinction between women that are good for the long haul and women that are good for right now. Men know and men accept. And some men decide to be that man who's going, his legacy and his way of living and his DNA will be passed on. And some men don't. So I wanted to underscore that, because I think we just kind of have this way of life that is just like, the decisions that I make doesn't matter. I'll get unlimited do-overs, and we do not. That was the first thing. And then the second thing that he said, he was talking about Alison Armstrong, and I love this. He was talking about men, their Achilles heel, if you will, is attraction to a woman, and they start overlaying all of the good qualities on women before we've earned it. This is where, especially women who are beautiful, that youth and that beauty can get you in the door when your character may not be able to keep you inside and the truth comes out. But he was saying, and I don't speak to men, I'm not a man, but he was saying that where men can falter in that decision making is if they see a mating opportunity. Let's just tell the truth. If they're attracted to a woman, they can, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Y'all coming through with the support. Jai Money for the $9.99. No comment, no question. Thank you for the femininity. We appreciate that. Men can falter in that decision making when they see a beautiful woman. And instead of looking at reasons to disqualify her, men start thinking, oh, she's going to be great. She's going to make me pancakes. She's going to be supportive. She's going to be loyal. And then a lot of times the opposite happens. So just like I was saying before, Mr. President said men look at or should look at reasons to disqualify us. So the lesson is, ladies, stay on top of it. Don't think just because you have you're winning right now, it's always going to be that way. Because one day that man will wake up. And if you've just been coasting on your good looks or coasting on everybody's just always done everything for you and nobody expects anything from me, one day he will decide, you know what, it's just not worth it. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And also understanding that men are living in a way that they're always assessing risk. Is this risky? Is this going to cause, any risk for my family, for my well-being, for, always looking out for that potential risk. He mentioned Alison Armstrong, and that's the lady that wrote the Queen's Gambit. I think it's the Queen's Code, I think, where she talks about relationship on us being the queen and how we protect our queen, our king, and goes into all these different metaphors. It's a great book. Anybody that wants to look into communication between men and women, I think that is an amazing book. So yes, I wanted just to point out that the Queen's Code book, it's really good for those women that want to understand communication between men and women.
All right, let's go back in and see what else he has to say.
Is which negatives are so negative that you can just eliminate that entire class of people and it'll narrow it down to a more manageable number. And you will know right away. You won't have to waste your time, energy, and money on dating apps. You can see even from the pictures many times, these people are just not your people. And when you can eliminate all these women from your dating pool, you can start to get more specific about the ones that are left over and perhaps much more likely to make a good decision. In a recent study, a German research group was investigating childhood trauma. And they chose 2,500 people at random, and they asked them a bunch of questions. And what they found was about 33% had some kind of childhood trauma in their lives. Of that 33%, more than half had body modifications, tattoos, and piercings. Think about that. So if you're out there looking for a woman, someone that maybe you want to have a relationship with, maybe a long-term relationship with, and I'm not going to say it, but yes, potentially even a marriage with, and you want to have someone who is emotionally stable, doesn't have a lot of problems, closet issues, skeletons in her closet. Women with tattoos are 5 times as likely to be smokers. They're much more likely to be less educated. They show much higher levels of impulsive behavior, taking risks and things like that. They tend to have lower self-esteem. All of these things will cause you problems in a relationship. There's no point in getting into a relationship with someone who has that cluster of issues.
Well, tell us how you really feel. All right, y'all, we're getting into it, and this one is gonna hurt, but he related these tattoos, and Lucy and I have talked ad nauseum about these tattoos. Again, do what you want to do. It's your body. Nobody's gonna fight you. But we're gonna say the quiet part aloud. If the correlation between risky behavior and childhood trauma is more markedly demonstrated by tattoos, did you hear him? He said tattoos, body piercings, and body modifications. So I'm going to lump all of this stuff into this. If you've had these extreme surgeries, if you've had, you know, pierced all over your body or random places on your body, or these tattoos. Ladies, you may tell yourself, I'm a good person once you get to know me. I'm really sweet. I'm really kind. I had a wonderful family growing up. Yet and still, what you are presenting, what you are advertising is related to people who come with a lot of chaos. Why would you want to make it harder for yourself? It's already hard enough out here. How many women are going to be single by the year 2040? I'm telling you, it's going to get worse before it gets better. So don't let that attention seeking behavior, that impulsive behavior, find other ways to express yourself. Take up a hobby, take up a skill or something. But when you lump yourself, like he said, into that cluster of people that come from trauma and don't have good decision making, why would a man who's looking for a woman for life choose that over someone else who at least doesn't come in the door screaming, there's problems with me? What would you add, Lucy?
Absolutely agree. And it's important to remember that relationships are not easy, especially the beginning years. If you already come into a relationship with somebody that has that amount of background, challenges, you're going to have to be dealing with the actual relationship, and then for the with the history of what that person brings. That's why they call it baggage. You don't know how much stuff they have that has molded that personality into what they are. So again, the body modifications, the tattoos, the piercings everywhere, it should be kind of like an indication. We have nature. When you see a colorful uh, insect, it tells you don't get near it because it might sting you really hard, because those colors are telling you something. So once you see somebody with that many things that are calling attention to her, but at the same time, they have hurt themselves to be able to do that, there should be, a lot of risk assessment done there just by what they look. And unfortunately, in this world where people are telling you you shouldn't judge people by what they look, unfortunately, studies have shown that there's background information, negative information, to all of that stuff that you see when that person presents is in front of you.
Couldn't agree more. I love this comment here from Jai Monet. She says, when I was a freshman in college, I wanted a small nose piercing. I asked a guy in my friend group his thoughts on me getting it. He said, it would look cute, but don't get it. I'm happy I listened. And I am so happy you listened to. There's so much in that. Having men that we admire and respect that are going to tell it to us straight. And let's tell the truth, ladies, listening to the counsel that we're given. So many of you could have avoided a lot of mistakes if you had listened when a man tried to tell you, but can't nobody tell you anything. So here we are. Let's go back in.
Now, if you're just looking to get laid, here's a warning for you. So women with lots of body piercings and tattoos are much more likely to be impulsive and have, risky sexual behavior. But they're also much more likely to have STDs. So you need to do the risk reward on that one yourself. But yeah, it flips both ways. You might be able to seduce one of these girls real easily, but you might be paying a long-term price on that one. Very long-term. Obesity is another one. I know some guys like them round. I get it, especially you black guys. I don't know what you like about that, but I know you do. You like it. I guess it's, heat in the wintertime and shade in the summertime, man. You get yourself a big woman. But yeah, obesity is an indication of, impulse control problems. Probably there is a lack of self-esteem associated with it. I mean, food is the new heroin, any way you cut it, because it has become so addictive. And unless you have some kind of self-control, yeah, in this food-rich environment, becoming obese is very, very likely. It's very, very easy. But young women who are obese, I would eliminate them right off the bat, just because they're going to be a problem in the long run. They're going to have health issues. They're going to have psychological issues. They got self-esteem issues. They got impulse control issues. If they're that wrapped up in eating, there's lots of other cool stuff out there that stimulates dopamine in your brain. And I would argue that they would probably be much more likely to experiment with all that stuff as well. So no fat chicks. And I'm not being mean here. I'm just laying it out there like it is. I'm telling you truth here. This isn't about being politically correct. I'm not trying to do anything about body positivity or any of that stuff. I don't want to hear from you guys on that, especially you women. Yeah, the whole body positivity thing that's psycho. Obesity is a disease. It's a disease. We don't have cancer positivity, If I got a brain tumor, I don't want someone to sugarcoat it. I want to know. Tell me, I got a problem. Help me fix it. But yeah, today, I guess obesity falls into a whole nother category because God forbid anyone call a woman fat. Well, I just did. No fat chicks. Not because they're not cute or whatever. I don't care about that. Just because they got problems. And you don't want those problems in your life. You don't want to make her problems your problems.
Woosah. All right, so let's take a deep collective breath because I was just having a great time and suddenly I feel so attacked right now. But no, we wouldn't be honest with you all if we didn't address I was going to say the elephant in the room. How appropriate. All right. So, like Lucy said, he did use some colorful language. And at the risk of getting canceled, ladies, we do have to talk about this. Now, let's get over our emotions. Myself, I struggle with my weight. Yeah, so I've said it, but here's the thing. What can we learn from this, ladies? He started this video, and this video is about, is she worth it? The men that we want have gotten to a point where they are successful in life because they have assessed risk well and consistently made good decisions. When someone doesn't take care of their body, whatever your hang up is, if you eat too much, if you drink too much, if you swear too much, if you shop too much, if you spend too much, if you pierce and tattoo too much, it doesn't show the same decision-making ability in a woman that a man who has arrived at that point does for himself. So we can get over what our little hang up is, but why would a man who is disciplined want someone who is not? Now, of course, as we age or have children or menopause or whatever it is, a grown woman's body is just different. Men know that. But I think specifically what he's talking about is people who just don't care. I wish I had managed my weight better when I was younger. I could have a little bit more freedom now, but I have to really stay on it because if I let it, it could get out of control. So I have to be the one to discipline myself and don't eat that if I want it, when I want to. I shouldn't require my man to tell me, hey, we're getting a little bit out of control here. So for me, that's really the message. It's about the risk taking. It's about the decision making. Can you control yourself in any of these areas? And for him, obesity is a non-starter. So again, for the ladies who are like, you know what? I'm just as good as her. Or once you get to know me, or any of these things that we get in our feelings about, you could disqualify yourself before you even had an opportunity. And that's not what we want for you. What would you add, Lucy?
And sadly, these women that are adding on to the uh, level of disqualification, you're obese, you have, rainbow color hair, you have piercings, you have tattoos, you have, body modifications. you're adding to that. But there is, also a a group of people giving positive behavior to that person that clearly needs help on, not being as impulsive with what they eat, not being as impulsive of going to a salon and asking for, three colors of, hair color on your head, or an additional piercing above your eyebrow. So again, it's adding to that risk assessment that the men are saying, yeah, no, we're good. And again, from what we've seen for centuries, men can live alone okay. So again, they can say, you know what, I'd rather spend my life, peacefully, and, retreat to my own cave without having to deal with all this mess that you bring. And again, young ladies, make sure that you take care of your bodies when you're young, when it's easy to drop off those 10, 15 pounds. Then, because your body will remember as you get older, it'll take longer. So you want to learn how to maintain that weight. So when you get to my age, almost 60, trying to lose 15 pounds, it's really hard. But your body remembers, even though you got to try out much harder, it remembers on how to get back in shape. You're not going to be having all those, that skin removal uh, uh, surgeries after you have gained so much weight throughout these years, that later on, when you lose it, you're going to have to again go back and have additional surgeries for something that you could have taken care of when you were in your young age.
All right, buckle up, buttercups. So we've talked about the body modifications, the piercings, and the tattoos. We've talked about being obese. Let's see what else is on his list. Killer says there's nobody going to be left for him. Something tells me he'll find somebody. I don't think the men are really struggling the way that we think they are. Let's see what else.
There's an old saying, it's if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, chances are it's a duck. Well, the same thing goes with women. If she dresses like a whore, she looks like a whore, chances are she's a whore. So when you see a woman who's catching your attention with some really seductive clothes, I mean, like way over the top. I'm not talking about just a mini skirt or a halter or something like that, but you know what I'm talking about. The fishnet hose, the spike heels, the skirt that's so short, if she bends over, you're getting the full view, the low cut blouses to the point where it's distracting you. You can't keep your eyes up here because you're just drawn to this enormous canyon that exists in your field of view. You're just like, get me the binoculars. I need to see what's down there. Yeah, that woman is seeking attention. She's seeking validity. She's out there hunting. She is now a hunter. She's not just gathering. No, she's hunting, and she's the bait. Yeah, you don't want her in your life, because that behavior, that persona that she's taking on, is something that runs much, much deeper. And I would argue there's a lot of trauma associated with it. I wouldn't be surprised if you see those girls with the funky piercings and tattoos. And the one piercing you got to really, really, really watch for is that one little ring in the nose. That one is a dead giveaway for someone who's got some serious issues, emotional, psychological, intellectual issues for that matter. That's gotta hurt. But yeah, you do not want that girl in your life, man. She looks like a whore. She's probably a whore. Just eliminate her. Take her off the list. I don't care how hot she is. You cannot rationalize with yourself with this stuff. You cannot. It's like playing with fire. Oh, but it feels so good. No, it'll burn down your house. She will burn down your house, and I mean that completely. Stay away from these girls. The tattoos, the facial piercings. Oh, the ring in the nose. That's the one you got to watch for, man. That's the one that'll get you every single time. Fat girls. They each at a house and home. Emotional issues, psychological issues, self-esteem. It's all there. It's all there. The whores looking for validation from you. Yeah, you just got to take these girls off your list, because what you're going to end up with is a much smaller list, which is a good thing, because there's 4.2 or 4.3 billion women in the world. You can't get through all those, you know?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to begin. But it needs to be said, ladies. You can't get through all of them. Wow. Hopefully, this is rattling your cage like it's rattling my cage. But what can we learn from this lady? So, he has made it painfully clear. All right. The tattoos, the piercings, the body modifications, being obese. I think this last one, I got so confused. I'm not going to use the word, but the women that dress in a very provocative way, there is no reason for that. Men can see before it's even seen. All right. There's no reason to put it all out there if you want to be taken seriously. Like he said, if you dress like a streetwalker, don't be surprised when you're treated like a streetwalker. And what frustrates me is when women say or think, well, don't look at me, or of course you can't touch me, or any of these things. Again, it goes back to the decision making. If there is an event or an outing, or you're coming to the school or whatever it is, and of all the clothes that you have to cover your body, what you put on is two sizes too small and too short and too low cut and everything, and you expect somebody to pay attention to you and take you seriously, you're fooling yourself. Again, they may toy with you, they may have fun with you, but when it doesn't go anywhere, you have to ask yourself, what have I done to disqualify? And you hear this man is saying, just take them off the list. Some of you women that walk around and say, men don't approach, I feel invisible, or all these things that women are complaining about. Have you done any of these things, or are you currently doing any of these things, and you expect a man to swim over broken glass to see the heart of gold that you have inside when he can't see anything because you got it all out there? And one thing I will say, he's starting to stack them on. Pick a struggle, ladies. Like I said, I struggle with the weight. So for me, no tattoos, no piercing, no dressing provocatively. You can't pile on and expect a man to look over every other normal candidate to try and figure out if you are worth the risk. Because again, we're talking about risk taking, and the men that do well and survive are good at assessing risk. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, and that brings me back to the session that we had earlier about protecting your home. This is something that we as women, we need to protect our men when we go out there. If you're dressing provocatively, you are just putting a little bit of a fire to the flame of something that a man could look at you the wrong way. And if you're walking with your husband or your significant other, that could create problem overall. Again, I'm not saying that you can't dress elegantly and just mysteriously and have that little flair to be a little sexy, but to show everything out there and to have skin all over the place, showing it to the world, that is incredibly inappropriate. It's incredibly not considerate for your men or for the ones around you. I mean, if I had children, I wouldn't want my children to see all that stuff hanging out just because it's just inappropriate. There's a time and a place for everything. And to be dressing like you're going to be, sitting at a corner somewhere, you're asking, or standing at a corner, I think that's how they do it, somewhere, you're asking for trouble, more trouble that there needs to be. And it's time to, bring it down a little bit before you go out. Look at you in the mirror, full size mirror, and say, is this too much? And then ask if you have, a cousin, a brother, your dad. Your dad is probably going to tell you, no, you're going back up and you're not leaving this house like this. But again, have someone, that friend, that will tell you the hard truth and say, yeah, you can't go out there like that. What are you trying to, what's the intention here?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. A couple things I want to shout out. Man, you all are coming through so generously. Thank you. C. Irving with the €5. He says, Maggie is right, 100% right. There is no way I will look over stability and modesty for chaos and attention-seeking drama. I'll always pick modest. Because ladies, men know when we're alone with them, then you're free to be, express yourself how you want to, but how you step outside of the house. There was a time when we represented our family, we represented our man. Now we're just out here with all the freedoms of the world. Can't nobody tell us anything, and perpetually single. And again, if you ask yourself why nobody approaches you, it could be because they've seen you and decided it's not worth the risk. All right. The International Quiet Storm coming through with the $5. Thank you so much. Says women can prevent a lot of conflicts by the way they dress, present themselves, display their attitude, and offer basic respect. So, yes, ladies, we are the ones offering ourselves up for a relationship if that's what you want. If you want to do your own thing, none of this applies to you. Go be great. But for those of us who actually want a real relationship with a man, it matters. And the International Quiet Storm with $5 again says it's 4 billion women on the planet, and over 200 million women are single. I think I can find one outside of the US. So, we may be joking, but sometimes, ladies, you think, oh, we are entitled to a man, or you'll come back, or you'll be back. The world has gotten smaller and smaller, and men have no problem going to seek out traditional women if that's what they want. And there are women that are happy to get on a man's program. So, for those of you who want to be taken seriously, it's time to make some changes. And I love this. NW says these teachings are like alcohol on a cut. It's necessary. Thank you for saying that. It does sting, but somebody's got to say it, because here's the thing, ladies. Whether you like what he's saying or not, and I don't know this man, I don't know his family, but this is what fathers tell their sons, uncles tell their nephews. You bring a girl home and, I'm a boy mom, mother say, after we had the nice chicken dinner or whatever and she's gone, I have told both of the boys, I have seen some things, and I'm like, no. And the boys have told me, Mom, it's not long term. And they're teenagers. So men who make decisions, they know which women are to be taken seriously and which ones are just a date. All right. So you may get your feelings hurt, but it's good for you to know the men that make decisions that don't include you, some of the reasons why. Because a guy could like you. He may get to know you and say, oh, she's a wonderful person. Bring that mess home if you want to. And then they say, is it worth the risk that I alienate my whole family just because, I think she's cute? They may say, you know what, I'm going to go with the safer choice. All right, let's go back in.
Take the bad ones out. Leave yourself with just a nice small pool of really attractive women who have the characteristics that you're really looking for. The characteristics that you want to find in a woman that you can't see on the surface, that you're going to have to get to know her to find, are long-term thinking. Women who are not victims of their impulses. If you find a woman who plans ahead and she saves money and she's thinking about the future, that's a huge, huge, huge green flag. Like I said, you're not going to just see that on the surface. That's something that you're going to have to get to know about her. Makes a critical difference. They have stable mental health and they're not seeking external validation. All you got to do is look her up on social media and you'll know right away whether she is out there seeking external validation. Now, all women are going to do this to some extent, but if it's over the top, if she's out there, dressed in her nightie or whatever, that's a dead giveaway. Do not approach that woman. That's a throwaway. You don't go after that one. Women who personally invest in their education and their career and their self-improvement, these are women that you can work with. Now, if their parents are paying for it all and they're being pushed through this process, that doesn't qualify. That doesn't get you points. But a woman who's putting herself through college or toward a career that she has passion for because it's something that she authentically wants to do, not because someone's pushing her or forcing her to do it. Her parents aren't saying you need to be a doctor. No, she's got this intrinsic desire to be a doctor, not because it pays money, but because she likes helping people. That's a winner. That's a winner right there. And then finally, they have a...
I want to talk about this one before we get to the last one. So he's beat the horse about what to disqualify on. But ladies, his language it's tough, but this is how men speak. This is how men speak to each other. If you notice, he's making content for other young men trying to guide them. Men don't pull any punches. They're not going to sugarcoat it. If they think you're an idiot, they're going to say, man, you are an idiot. We get all offended and want to fall on the floor and roll around. I can't believe you talk to me that way. So, open your eyes and open your ears and realize that the man that you're interested in could have a friend, a colleague, an uncle, a father, a brother who says, man, what are you doing with that? And you heard him. He said, those type of women are throwaways. That's a little extreme for me. I'm forever the care bear. But ladies, if you have found yourself having the attention of a man for a limited amount of time, and then all of a sudden he's gone, could it be because you didn't present yourself as a serious candidate? You showed up as a throwaway. And a throwaway means something is disposable. And disposable meant I used it one time and it was only good for one time. It was not anything to use long term. And that hurts me to say, but ladies, a lot of us are showing up as disposable. And the men are acting accordingly because that is how you are presenting yourself with all of these other characteristics. All right. What I do love that he said, a quality that is useful in marriage or long term is her decision making. Again, you want to be with a man who's stable. You want to be with a man who makes good decisions. You want to be with a man who can assess risk and choose wisely. Where do you stand on that metric? Are we offering the same thing that you're asking for? So many women focus on the outside. And yes, the outside is important. We talked about that. But how are you going to be over the long haul in a relationship? Do you just have an outburst because you feel like if somebody offended you, so I'm going to tell them off, I'm going to push you down the stairs, I'm going to go off, I'm going to take a swing, whatever it is that you do? Or are you disciplined enough to be able to gather information, think about it, and make an informed decision? That is much more attractive over the long term to a man who is looking for a serious candidate than someone who shows up with everything hanging out and you're for one night only. So a man who makes good decisions is looking for a woman who makes good decisions. So ask yourself, how is that showing up in your life? Or is it impulse everywhere that you go? What would you add, Lucy?
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things. There's a saying, wherever you go, there you are. So if you're a 40-year-old finding yourself in all of these different situations and you're saying, "Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on with my life." Take a look at the trajectory up until this point and look at where those decisions that you made got you to the point that you are. I like that he said the part about look for the woman that is a planner, that is always looking ahead and not only looking for now and doing the things for now, because that's what gets us all in trouble. Being impulsive and not thinking, a year from now, if I make this decision, how is this going to impact me now, a year, 2 years, 5 years from now? And if I'm single right now, the decision that I make right now, once I'm with I have a husband, is this something that's going to carry on through our marriage? Is this something that's going to bring trouble once he finds out about these decisions that I've made? These huge student loan debt. Is this something that he's going to have to carry on? So again, it's those things that it's those men that are looking to have a stable, committed relationship. They are looking to all of those aspects about that person to say yay or nay. Does she stay or does she go?
Absolutely. So if y'all are still with us, let's hold on and hear what else he has to say to close this out.
Respect for themselves. They respect their body. They're not covering themselves with validation seeking markings and piercings and shit like that. They don't overeat. They don't make themselves look like a clown from, eating too much food. They have impulse control when it comes to that. and they don't dress like a whore. They don't look like they should be walking the streets. If she looks like she should be walking the streets, she probably should be. You know, a woman who dresses appropriately. That's not to say she can't be sexy. That doesn't mean she can't be attractive in the way she dresses. It just means that if you were standing on a street corner, you wouldn't stop and roll down your window and ask how much. You know, I've seen lots of girls that I know are not prostitutes that I thought, how many guys have stopped and rolled down their windows and asked how much? Anyway, picking a woman for any kind of relationship is the critical thing. Those 4 words, is it worth it? Is something we can't lose sight of, because that's our defense mechanism. That's what leads us through life. Those 4 words help us achieve greatness. And if you use them appropriately throughout your life and you have some success with it, your life is going to be great. It's going to be successful. But if you allow some pretty girl dressed like a whore with a tattoo and a ring in her nose, who's maybe a little overweight, if you let that girl into your world, oh, God save you, man. God save you, because you're in trouble. All right, you guys, that's all I got for you today. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. If you know someone who's got a questionable girlfriend or even a questionable taste in women, send them this video. Maybe it'll help them. Thanks. Until next time, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.
Whew, that one stung all the way through, but let me start by saying thank you so much to Discipled One for the $20. Accountability is the order of the day. Ladies, this is why you should listen to Maggie and Lucy. At the end of the day, results matter. They have theirs, and you the path to get yours. Oh, thank you so much. So generous. Thank you. And we see you coming through. We have another one, $2, 2 times. Thank you so much from Chris, I believe. Thank you. Yes, Chris Reed, thank you. What he said at the end kind of stung, but ladies, it's really important. He said, you know, stay safe and stay single. What does that tell us? The pool of marriage-minded men is shrinking, unfortunately. I believe there's still wonderful men out there that want relationships, but it's not the default the way it used to be when we grew up. Men are now more interested in protecting what they've built because, unfortunately, because of our behavior, we have not presented ourselves as a good risk to take collectively as women. So a lot of men are saying it's just not worth it. And one of the things you have to understand about the psyche of a man, and I am not a man and I cannot speak for men, but what I have learned is a man's purpose and what he is put here to do and the legacy is supposed to live, the legacy he's supposed to leave is always 10 times out of 10 more important than the relationship or the good times he can have with a woman. For us women, a lot of us look at the relationship as this is my happy place, this is my happiness. Men have a much greater sense of purpose than I think we do as women. So if we enter into a man's life and we look like Lucy says, a liability and not an asset, and we risk the years and the toil that it's taken for him to arrive, he will cut his losses or maybe not even approach or connect himself to us for the long term because he is trying to build something that will live long after he's gone. He wants his name and his legacy to mean something, to matter. So if you don't come into the relationship adding value and definitely not taking away with all that foolishness, you will just find yourself by yourself. And I love what he said about that attention-seeking behavior. Ladies, I know as women, we like attention. Let's just tell the truth. But we should be craving that attention from our man. It should mean 10 times more, 100 times more if your man, if your husband tells you, you look nice today, I like that dress on you, or you're so beautiful. That should light you up more than a million likes. But unfortunately, the opposite is true. And men know that they're not going to compete. They can't compete with social media. So these women that are chasing that attention, doing things to modify their bodies so people crane their neck and look at them, you get that attention for a moment. But nobody's going to care if you're sick, if you're not well, if you lost a job, if you have any other issues. It's just a click and then they're on to the next thing. All right. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, this was a tough one for me. It was because of the language, but again, it's important to remember that he's talking to men. Men speak with each other completely different than us women, and it takes me back, listening to this. That cancel culture was created by women because we get offended by everything, by every little thing, whereas men, they can tell each other you really, really colorful things, and they will be bumping fists and, on the friendly type thing, and really words to them. It's okay. That's how they treat each other. So again, the language here, he's using it because he's talking to specifically to men. We are the observers. We're sitting back and watching, listening, and those who want to learn, like us, we listen and we take a look at our lives to see if, yeah, is this matching what he's saying, or do I need to modify a little bit just to make my husband's life a little easier than what it is?
Well, this was a good one. I saw you all had some questions, and Lucy put the channel in the chat. This is John Griffin. The link to the video is in the description. I think this is a good rewatch now that we've ripped the Band-Aid off. Maybe you can collect yourself and go back and see what he's saying. If you go down the rabbit hole, he's got some other really punchy videos, but we want it to be helpful, and we want those of you who want relationships to actually be successful. None of that other stuff that you do in the moment that's impulsive for attention is going to measure up to the joy that you will have with a lifelong relationship and family. All right. So with that, Lucy, would you like to share what we're going to be doing after today?
What are we going to be doing after today?
Okay. All right, I'll share. Today was our last reaction video. We have
Oh,
go ahead.
yes. Oh my goodness, I forgot. We didn't practice this one before getting on. So yes, for me, because of the last reaction video that we had, YouTube is being really challenging to when we present somebody else's a topic and content. Maggie almost had her channel shut down because we shared something from a big content creator. So we want to do, again, reactions are great, but to me they are easy to do because we are reacting to somebody else's content, whereas now we are creating content, our own content, and we're going to be sharing it with you from now on. So Maggie, you may want to add to that. Sorry, I forgot about that.
No problem at all. So to clear the air, we're not going anywhere. Lucy and I will still be with you all once a week. What we have done for, the better part of a couple of years now, we've been reacting to content and giving you our take as older women with decades of marriage and relationship experience. But just to be really transparent, like Lucy said, when you are in the YouTube partner program, you agree to make original content. And, a lot of times, even though we pause it and add our own commentary, depending on the original source, some channels have no problem allowing you to react to their content. We've reacted to John Griffin before. You all have seen us, Dr. Ryan Taraban, the Happy Wife School. There's been a lot of them. Ask an Older Man. They leave it up to the original content creator how sensitive or how liberal they want to make reuse of their content. Last week, we reacted to something from Dave Ramsey, and he's well within his right he slapped it down immediately. Some of you all were watching, and the stream got taken down. And Mr. President said, just leave it off. It just became like a warning, but it's kind of like walking through a minefield. You don't really know who is going to allow you to use their content and who's going to slap you down. And so to avoid that, today is our last reaction video. So we won't share actual footage anymore just to avoid any risk. But Lucy and I still have a wealth of knowledge from our lived experience. We will start taking other topics that are still helpful for women. We may watch the content on our own and add our own outline to it, or craft it in a way that we are basically making original content. So no need to fear. We will be back next week and once a week with you all, but I just wanted to share what happened in full transparency so you all know, and that is it. So with that, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. Let me say thank you to all of you all who came through with the donations today. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Messy Michon, for the $9.99. Thank you, Jai Monet Femininity, for the $9.99. The International Quiet Storm with $5. Thank you so much, C. Irving, for the €5. International Quiet Storm again with the $5. And Chris Reed sent a couple of $2 super chats. We're very, very grateful. And our stream sponsor, Discipled One, with the $20. We really love this space with you all, and we will continue to do the work. I just wanted to let you all know. But feel free. I'll say, if you want us to cover a certain topic, thank you, King Sin, with the $10. Oh my gosh, y'all are so generous. If you all want us to react or talk on a certain topic, feel free to inbox me, Maggie the Substitute Teacher, at gmail.com, or sometimes you send videos my way just so it's on our radar, and Lucy and I can do some prep work and then just make our own original content, because I don't want to get in any trouble with the YouTube police. We are rule followers over here. So that's all that I wanted to share. Anything to close us out, Lucy?
I look forward to sharing our own content. Sometimes following rules, it's a little bit of a pain, because sometimes you're following other people's behavior, and when they strike you for something that somebody else has been doing, it gets a little uncomfortable. But anyway, rules and following rules is it's part of us being a rule-abiding society, and this is probably something that links to the next content that we're going to be sharing next. I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday. What are we gonna do? Because aren't you? Isn't there something coming up for you on Saturday?
I'm traveling Friday. I'll be back Saturday morning. I'm going to
Oh,
St.
okay.
Louis, but
All
yeah,
right.
we can keep Saturday.
Okay.
So yeah, we will be here. Just wanted to give you all that in full transparency. And let me also say thank you to all of the content creators who have allowed us without
Yes.
restriction to react to your content. We really try to give credit and always put the link. And so those of you all who have not slapped us down, we really, really appreciate it. It has been really helpful for us and to the community. And for the others, we respect your right to not have anybody monetize on your content. And so we are going to follow the rules, and we want to lead by example. So thank you all. We're going to move into a new phase starting next week, and we'll continue to create this space and hopefully teach the younger women who want to learn from our experience. So with that, we will say adios.
Adios.